Hello and welcome.
Critical and fast and just integral to how well these runners are going to be able to figure out how fast to make it through each level.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's been great, and I know speedrunners kind of get a jab when people talk about them, and they're like, you just play the same game over and over again. But this setup right here shows exactly why it is fun. It is enjoyable to do that because there's all these little optimizations you could do, especially with Aeon Drive here. You've got the warp dagger, you've got dashes, you've got a sword, and then you have enemies to maneuver around, obstacles, all this stuff, and you just see all the different mistakes and optimizations they do. But yeah, 30 minutes on this timer here, round to 32, so they got a lot of time to really scope out this map, get their precision down mechanics, and just really kill it. And it looks like this one has a lot of moving objects, which we mentioned it in the last one, if you guys were here. But moving objects kind of introduce a new spectrum into the game here, because like you see here, like they're not able just to run straight through it. They kind of have to wait if they're not on time. So it just introduces something really different into the game that we haven't quite seen today.
Exactly, and the moving object thing, the fact that the saw that we have here is stopping the dagger, it actually pretty much kills the dagger, and you have to either find a faster method or you have to wait. Like really, and waiting is just not an option. You know, we don't want to wait for it to go by or anything of that nature. They're probably going to want to do a lot of the uprights, downrights to get over that second saw dash underneath the first one. But they're going to take their time. They're going to look and see what they can do. They're going to try to find the fastest method in the spots that are stopping them. So, Warning Track asked me this. I'm going to ask you this. If you were to speedrun this, and you were to speedrun these levels, how would you take them? What would be your method? Would you be the more get through it and finish the level a few times first, or would you just reset in the middle and constantly try to redo one spot? How would you actually go about figuring out each level?
Yeah, my methodology would probably be to run through the level, see what my game plan will 100% be. Kind of do that a couple times, kind of practice the shots, and then once I know what I want to do, I'll probably just keep doing it and resetting until it's like really smooth and solid. And so we saw a mix of that earlier today. As you know, some runners would make a mistake, and if it wasn't a big one, you know, maybe they continue, but then they made another one or a big one after that, and they just reset. And they were like, nope, do it again, time to get something better. And then we saw some, they would just continually finish the run because they wanted to get that in-game practice in. And so what ends up happening is, you know, they end up being better at the end, so once they get the beginning down, they can kind of rush through it versus the ones who keep resetting, which is probably what I would do. Get really consistent at the beginning so they get more to the end at the end. And so we're seeing those two different styles, I think. Maybe there could be more, but those are two big ones that we keep seeing. So I'm not sure how exactly it plays out as far as one being better than the other.
And right now we're seeing that from Gameguy. We're seeing the final seconds, and he's looking at I'm pretty sure it's he in this instance, but what we've got going on is finding the last seconds and seeing at the very end what we can do to get past the... Really, you don't want to wall jump. Wall jumping is almost your slowest method, so using the dagger to go up at the angle and then get one wall jump rather than multiple wall jumps. So it's interesting to see, and really SCP just taking a full-on drop at the end there in the middle right there is interesting because that is just one big solid fall. I'm surprised to see that actually taking a play rather than any kind of downward movement with the dagger.
Yeah, the dagger absolutely being the most fastest way to move around in the stage. But yeah, you also got dashes, and like you're saying, the wall jumps are not very quick. If you have to go through a corridor and you have to do it, then you know it's whatever. but it's not what you want to do. You might see some of them like kind of catch corners here and have to do an extra jump. That is absolutely wasting time, and they try to minimize those as much as possible. So trying to avoid extra wall kicks. All right, closer look here on SCP. Really trying to figure out this section here. Some moving saws there really complicates that area. Looks like it could be really quick though.
Yeah, this level in particular has a lot of possible variation where the top route might be faster if you can optimize where you're throwing that dagger. The thing about it I'm noticing is really coming down to the middle and the very end. That very end where they have the two saws on the ground and the two saws on that left wall is really taking a huge just stopping point, because they need to dagger quick and then get out of there because they don't have much time to sit there on the ground. There's also that one corridor that they fall down that has the two saws that are closing in as well, that you can't just fall normally because they're going to pinch you in and you're going to end up dying. So I'm going to be very interested to see who figures out first the right optimization to get past those. And we're seeing another super jump there from Gameguy, possibly figuring out where to go and going up higher, seeing if that's an option.
Yeah, perhaps. We just saw Gameguy really crush. I don't think we've updated the time. He finished with 21 something on the timer. I don't think we updated his best, but he just flew through whatever he was doing. That was pretty incredible.
Looks like 8.95 on there, so that's a real good time. That's the first sub 10 seconds that we've seen,
and it's
so far in the level.
And it's a sub 9. It was a huge gain, and especially over SCP right here, who is sitting with a 13.9, but he's still trying to figure it out. But having that early time in is a really nice buffer here for Gameguy.
Gives you a little bit more of a time to figure out the more finite optimizations, and honestly, Gameguy finding that little crevice, so to speak, in between the platform. There's this little section, this little diagonal between a platform and a full wall that they aimed through, that they were able to use their dagger in. That's clever. I like seeing that. Really, it's coming down to, like, the thing that's so fun about watching this is you've got still 22 and a half seconds, or 22 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock right now. Every bit of that can be used. It's going to come down to where everything is going to be sub 10 seconds. And every minute is going to give you multiple attempts. So even if we get down to the final minute here, there's going to be any amount of time for either one of these runners to catch up and take the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said that every single second that is on this timer will be able to be used. So you can be in the lead the entire time, and then, so Gameguy can have this time, holds the entire time. SCP final run beats it. So yeah, you're never out. That's what's so awesome about this setup here. Is it's good until the end.
Absolutely. And if you're liking what you see and you think this is a very interesting looking game, by all means, September 30th, this game will be coming out on all your favorite platforms. Go wishlist it on Steam. Keep your eyes peeled for it on Switch, PlayStation, Xbox. It's definitely going to be a lot of fun to play on every platform. It feels so smooth on the controller. I was messing around with it with even a Super Nintendo controller of all things. And even though I didn't have every bit of use at my disposal, getting a super jump again out of Gameguy going through the top route, I wonder if that's going to end up giving us a faster time or not. I love that super jump. I didn't even know that existed until watching a few players do that. That's so cool to see.
Yeah, it really is, that mechanic. And when the game comes out, they said there was going to be like over 100 levels to do. So there's going to be... I'm ready for like some sick mechanic to come out that people start doing, and they're like... like that, like a quick dash and a jump gives you like a quick boost of speed, and you can jump a little bit higher. So small, like tiny optimizations like that on so many different maps and stuff. It's going to be a really cool time discussing with everyone else who gets the game about what strategies, what levels, what routes can be optimized.
SCP having a really good run there. Unfortunately, hitting that little floating enemy there. I do not know the names of the enemies yet in this game, but hitting that floating enemy instead of going past him with the dagger and almost getting a really solid time. That might have been a close time to what Gameguy already has.
Oh my!
Excuse me?
Gameguy, what are you doing? What was that?
I think that was a out of bounds almost.
I clipping through the wall. Was he throwing his dagger over and over to like keep warping? Is that what happened?
I don't know, but that was
can't even tell you.
really funny. I appreciate that heavily because again, the dagger is so quick because you can sit there and if you're falling into a pit and you have the ability to throw the dagger upwards, you can constantly throw it and teleport to it and save yourself from dying. So in a casual sense, it really is just an interesting mechanic to stay alive.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw like the preciseness of what he was just trying to do here. He just threw his dagger through like the tiniest little hole to gain some time so he didn't have to like maneuver up some stairs and all that good jazz. So you can, I mean, that little display right there, I mean, just shows you how precise these runners are trying to be to save those few frames, few seconds, whatever it needs to be.
Oh man, that's funny. Chat saying Gameguy is becoming more powerful each run. Soon walls will no longer be an obstacle. that is. I wonder how that even happened and if that was something that Gameguy found previously, because they've not. I don't know if they've seen this level yet or not. I'm pretty sure they have not, because a lot of these levels yeah, they definitely have not seen this level. So some of these levels were available so they can get used to the control and the mechanics, so they know exactly how the mechanics of the game work, but the levels themselves are fresh. They are not something they were able to practice beforehand, so that's why you're seeing it live here, being practiced and being done. It's funny to see that Gameguy found a way to get into the wall. I don't know if that's something that was done on a previous instance that they've played or not, but I'll be interested in keeping my eyes out to see what that actually what comes out of that.
Yeah, it probably wasn't necessarily intended when he did it, but it was really cool to see regardless. But yeah, I mean, this being a new map is actually really cool. I think we get to watch the whole process of them trial and error, kind of mapping it out, looking at different parts of the map, really zoning in their movement here. Because it still looks like neither one are 100% sure that they want to stick with one thing or the other. You see them like kind of, especially if they make a mistake, they'll stop at a section and be like, okay, what can I actually do here to make it like really quick? And these moving saws are making it so much harder because every time they get to a section, if it's not on pace or at least the same pace, the saws are in a different place. So
Right.
this is something that it's like, it's not just one movement thing and you're like, oh, I'm good. It's like you have to really be paying attention.
And I'm wondering if either one of the runners are going to possibly try to do an upright throw at the very end and hit that ledge that's above the ending teleporter, because it looks like you can possibly get it, but I haven't really seen either one of them try to hit it. So I don't know if that's going to be something we're going to see.
Yeah, I'm not sure. SCP had a great run there and just like threw the dagger at the saw. Unfortunate there. But yeah, this end section, you could see it, like SCP, there's that floating enemy up top, there's those two saws, and even if you get on the timing, like the floating enemy's in your way, it seems like a really rough section. Both runners are kind of toying with.
Yeah, they're both going at that section very hard because it's literally the biggest obstacle with the floating enemy and the two saws at the beginning, or rather at the end, because it's
Mission complete.
there's a lot of room for error and very little room for actual throwing the dagger. Because if you throw the dagger in the wrong spot, you're immediately dead. There's just no way around that.
Yeah, it's rough. It's tricky. Maybe okay. Gameguy may be figuring something out here.
And I'm noticing SCP is really trying to get, like, almost frame-perfect wall jumps to get the better time. And you'll notice that whenever SCP gets to that wall, sometimes just won't jump and land, because literally going for almost a frame-perfect jump. It's probably more about the precision than it is about just holding left and then jumping, which, understandably so, you're trying to go as fast as possible.
Yeah, precisely. It can be real tricky getting all those optimizations in. And yeah, and the wall kicks are more like a Super Mario Odyssey versus like a Super Mario 64, where the wall kicks, you know, it's not like an instantaneous second, you know, like the very moment you think it might hit the wall, it hits the wall. Like you kind of have to grab the wall in order to kick off of it, which does make sense. You know, you don't just like kick the wall with all your force, and you kind of grab onto it and push.
Right, yeah, you've got a physics element to it where you actually do have to grab that wall. It's not like on SM64 that does have that firsty mechanic where you can get it really almost before he even touches the wall.
Yeah. Good work, so some good mechanics there. A decent run right at the end when we zoomed in. But looking at the leaderboard, yeah, it's like over 2 seconds off. That's insane.
Yeah, and I mean, SCP I think is taking a lot of time in certain areas and not really trying to like piece it all together right now. Still trying to figure out certain sections to get it done faster, because 2 seconds is a lot, but we still have 13 and a half minutes. So there's more than enough time for SCP to just lock in one tight run.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's plenty of time on the board. You see Gameguy here still like mapping stuff out and struggling, so it's not like, you know, the time is unbeatable. But yeah, SCP needs to really get something clean going. But it looked like he kind of figured out the end before we zoomed in here to Gameguy.
Oh wow, Gameguy literally would just went through and nailed a bunch of quick movements all the way up to the very end. And again, this final spot with the 2 saws and that flying enemy is just causing a lot of head pains here, and it's stopping both runners in their tracks and keeping them from really locking in that super tight time. I have no doubt in my mind that the first runner that gets that final section down is going to have a sub-8, if not sub-7 second time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Gameguy is saving his times here. Like, I don't know how precisely y'all are watching the dagger throws, but this throw right here, he's throwing it through that little gap like every time. It's insane.
Yeah, that is such a tight throw too. That window there is not. He's getting it such a way that literally being a pixel too far forward, you end up hitting the left side of the platform rather than going through the hole. So it ends up messing up the whole run, but when he hits it, it's like, if he gets past that last spot, that's going to be a really fast time.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Gameguy has that section figured out more. SCP has the ending figured out, it looks like, a little better. I don't know if he'll get to the end here. Hopefully we can see it. He gets to the end, and yeah, one throws it here and then does a wall jump. So that's a little different than what Gameguy is doing. It looks like he's has like an extra dagger throw in there somewhere. So maybe not quite as smooth. Maybe SCP can use that to his advantage.
Exactly, and I'm wondering if SCP is going to find that optimization. Oh wow, what did Gameguy just get a?
I don't know what that time was.
I don't either. That was a very. It might have just been towards the end. I was looking at SCP whenever I saw Gameguy like nail that ending. Because SCP is not using that little section that Gameguy is using, but SCP is getting. He's aiming towards the very top of the second saw on the left wall. So whenever they hit that, they're above both saws. They don't have to really. It doesn't really matter too much about the next angle, and they can get over to the portal really easily. So, actually, Gameguy has a very interesting strat too. Up and then left, and then wall jump to the right. So.
Yeah, I missed the up part. Maybe that's where I was thinking the extra throw was. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be much slower at all. So perhaps SCP does not have the advantage.
It's hard to say. I again, even though SCP is technically behind by a second and a half or so.
That run was nasty. I don't know if that was his best time, but gosh, Gameguy. He's consistently getting 8-second times now.
Yeah.
He's gotten a few of them.
Yeah, it's coming down to where it's constantly getting 8-second times. SCP will probably knock out a sub 10, but they gotta piece all this together. We're below 10 minutes, but that's more than enough time to get a very good run together and lock in a time that's just gonna be really close. I don't think it's gonna be too far-fetched for SCP to lock together one of these really solid runs.
Nah, he can get something pretty good. Definitely sub 10. But again, I mean, he's over a second behind now. I mean, Gameguy has that extra throw in the beginning, which I think is saving him half a second to a second with that teleport dagger. The little gap right here, that gap is saving him so much time over SCP, because if you watch SCP here, he'll just dash through it. And I think that's where that like extra second is coming from. So I think SCP needs to figure that out, or Gameguy might have just, gotten the formula and then executed it. Okay, SCP's doing something different now. Maybe he's realizing that maybe he's not going to be able to make up as much time as he wanted to.
One thing I'm noticing that Gameguy's doing is really using cardinal directions, north, south, east, west, a lot more in certain areas where they'll do the quick up and down throw, or up and then left throw, or up and then right throw. Like at the very end, Gameguy's doing that to just avoid wall jumps altogether until the very last wall jump. So that's a very interesting method there that they're using, and I like to see it. That's it's very unique, which they're getting really close to their 825 again. They're looking like they're about to break their 825. They're really close to doing it.
Yeah, it's coming down to the wire here for Gameguy if he wants to get that sub 8 or not. But yeah, he's looking super smooth. He really is. 7 seconds to go. Is SCP gonna be able to figure something out?
7 minutes.
Oh yeah, sorry. So yeah, 7 minutes. 7 seconds, not enough time.
Listen, 7 seconds is also we're talking seconds and minutes here because there's 7 minutes on the clock, but it's pretty. These levels are being finished in seconds, so yeah, that's insane. This game is so fluid. It's so amazing to watch. And again, if you're wanting to be able to figure some of this stuff out yourself, September 30th, all your favorite platforms, Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, and Switch. You can go ahead and wishlist it on Steam. When it comes out, you'll be ready to go, and you'll get the notification. And you can casually play through this. It does have a story element to it. Crash landing a ship and then collecting the fuel cells to power the ship. You have a futuristic outlier. 2 Awesome Studio has made another game before. I do not remember the name. Warning Track that had pointed that out. And this is kind of a spiritual successors of sorts to it, where there is the mechanic of somewhat of a teleportation like this in the other one, but this one is just fine-tuned. It's really, really fun to watch. Really fun to play, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think all the casters got a little early access to it, so we could really figure out the game, so we could see it at least, before coming out here and talking to you guys about it. But my experience was top notch. It's a really fun game. it's right on the verge of what I like to do anyway, which is speedrunning, figuring things out. That's why I've enjoyed, commentating this, especially this match right here with you. Brand new level, brand new tactics. It's just I love watching it just as much as I do like talking about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's been super fun.
The one thing that I noticed when I was playing it was, again, how just smooth the controls were. They were not choppy. I didn't feel like I ever lost control of my character, or my character never did what I was wanting them to do. It was always just immediate response times, and that felt so good. It felt so satisfying to finally get a really good dagger throw and a really good dagger teleport too.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of mechanics involved too. You'll watch when they throw a dagger to a wall, they either can do a wall jump, they can hug the wall, or if they hold neutral, they'll just drop straight down. And actually holding neutral after daggering a wall is very important, because holding onto it will waste time. And you can see Gameguy right here, an incredible time, number one. That was awesome. Number two, he's not grabbing any walls as he throws a dagger onto him, if you pay attention. And so he's physically holding the stick neutral every time he's touching a flat wall with the teleportation dagger. So I mean, the skill cap is pretty insane. And
one thing I just saw Gameguy do, one, did the thing I was talking about, doing the upright and grabbing that ledge that's above the teleporter, and then also right here, at the spot that we keep mentioning, with the floating enemy and the two saws, there's that little ledge that is below the ceiling that when Gameguy goes through the little corner here, throws and grabs that ledge and then falls neutral, like you said, and then hits the other wall on the right side to go past the saws. So it really does just speed that much up. It's so precise in that section.
Yeah, no hesitation, no nothing. You have to know the timings of the teleport dagger, you gotta know your stick positions, and you have to execute it before falling too far to miss the throw and hit that dagger right there. I mean, it's just, what he's doing here is really incredible.
It really is, and we're coming close to 3 minutes. Gonna be hitting 3 minutes in the middle of my sentence, and it's really coming down to the wire, where SCP is gonna have to really piece together all the sections that they're finding to be able to speed things up. And at the end of each finish, you see the leaderboard, and the runner can see the time of their competitor, so they know where they stand. SCP understands that they're a couple seconds behind, so they know that they're going to have to finish a run and really piece together all the things that they have found so far. So if I'm SCP right here, I'm probably feeling a little bit, what am I missing? I need to find the thing that speeds it up. What's not clicking here that's getting me to the 8 second, 7 second time frame.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what we were talking about earlier. I mean, Gameguy has found that one extra tactic, which is threading that little gap right here, as you see on the screen. And that really is just making it so hard for SCP to come in. And I mean, 7 seconds for Gameguy sitting at a 10 flat for SCP. SCP's doing well. He's not doing bad. Gameguy's just being, I guess, Gameguy and being insane.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is, this is single elimination, and loser goes home, winner moves on. There's one winner, there's one loser. That's just the way tournaments go. So the time that SCP is getting is not bad by any means. I mean, heck, it's better than I can do. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm not even acting like it's a bad time. It's just Gameguy has found that one thing that has just inched forward in the timer, because that little section cuts off actually a good second and a half, and that's the difference, because instead of having to fall and land and then throw, it is a quick double throw to get forward, and that's exactly it. So it's the upright, immediate right, and then another right as they're falling to get past all of that danger. So it's just boom, just like that.
So he's been killing the enemy. When you throw the teleportation dagger, if it hits an enemy, it just comes back to you and kills the enemy. So he's actually been throwing it twice there, but he was able to get there quick enough. Missed the enemy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, if he would have gotten that throw, like that's another half second that he's found off of the 7.8 that he has.
Yeah. So if he does it just literal millisecond too late, the enemy's in the way. So when he teleports, he ends up getting hit by the enemy. So it's a very it's threading the needle. It's threading the dagger, so to speak. So.
Yeah, absolutely insane. And that's 0 seconds on the time. And so that's going to do it here for Gameguy and SCP. And man, what a display from Gameguy. Because he really has pulled it out with that trick and execution. Just able to keep getting it and getting those, final, or getting those extra attempts at the final area, which I think really did it for him. Was able to get all those extra attempts after finding the fastest route.
Absolutely. So Gameguy moves on to the top 16. That is going to be sending them on to face 28 Code Talk in that top 16. But that's going to be all for today for the Aeon Drive tournament. Tomorrow we will be back at noon Central, 1 o'clock Eastern, with more top 64 matches and top 32 matches. So thank you everybody for showing up today, and don't forget, wishlist this on Steam. September 30th it's going to be out. It's actually going to be coming out right towards the end. It's going to be coming out the day before the tournament actually ends. But everybody's going to be ready to play this alongside of our winners, our runners here. So shout out to Two Awesome Studio for putting out such a great game. We'll see you guys tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you, and thank you again.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Good night, guys.
Absolutely.